what today is, guys? I didn't know until Destiny Bulletin posted it today. 3 years ago, Lightfall was revealed. Fellas, I don't think I mean, maybe you remember, but do you understand the hype levels we were at around this time? We had just come off of Witch Queen, all right? You know, we had some seasons there. We were trying to figure things out. We got the updates to our subclasses, and then we get the trailer of Lightfall. The hype, in my opinion, was never higher. The hype for Lightfall was higher than the hype was for, or definitely higher than Forsaken. Everybody thought the game was going to be dead. And it was during that time frame, even during the reveal leading up to Forsaken. But even like for Witch Queen, even for Final Shape, the hype for Lightfall dwarfed all those. We're going to go watch the trailer right now, just to give you a bit of a run back. All right, the trailer that they're referring to is this one right here. Destiny 2 Lightfall reveal trailer.
When they see this glorious end, they will come for us.
God, man. God, dog it, man.
Savor the fruitless struggle to its last drop. It's who they are. Let them come and see. Our shape.
Oh, man. Tormentors were new there.
What they do then. Unshackled from hope. That is who they are. Because only in the end are we free.
God, dog it, man. Look, dude, the delivery was so good there. You got to understand the mindset that we were in at this time. We just come off of Witch Queen. Witch Queen banged. There was also so much lore stuff getting set up there. Callus wasn't a simp yet. Like, a lot of us were just super excited to hear his voice. We were so hyped that he was going to be in this expansion. We have new subclass, which looked fantastic. We didn't know what it was going to be. We're in like this huge city area that we know that we're going to be going to, that being Neomuna. The Cloud Striders too. I got to say, guys, the first time we saw Cloud Striders, what went through my mind was, dude, that is way cooler than a Guardian. Like, the hell with being a Guardian. Let me be a Cloud Strider. I was also like excited because we were going to be in this, like this world looked huge. I was like, man, there's obviously going to be people living here, right? There's going to be, so we're going to be interacting with NPCs, maybe out in the world. Yes, we were going to be fighting Cabal again. It had like that 80s style. But again, what Lightfall was bringing to the table was it was our Infinity War. That's what it was supposed to be. It was going to be our Infinity War, and it was going to be the thing that set things up. It's going to the first half of this true epic between this and Final Shape. This was 3 years ago, guys. This date, 3 years ago, I saw hype levels of this community at its all-time high. Even with Prismatic, I don't know, Prismatic was pretty damn high, but everybody was very skeptical going into that. This right here was like just immediate hype, and everyone was just talking about Destiny, and you saw that from the numbers in Lightfall. This is Destiny 2's launch trailer for Lightfall. Look at this, man.
What is that? The Witness.
The malefactor of our first collapse is at our doorstep.
You have no purpose. Because you fear to seek one.
Oh, man.
That fear is your failure.
Vanguard to all units. Keep the enemy away from the Traveler at all cost.
I understand what's at stake, Lightbearer. Not all of us have lives to spare.
Your fear brings you pain. We know pain. Our purpose is its end.
The battle begins here, now.
Keep in mind, guys, Lightfall still holds the record for the highest peak concurrent players on Steam. This is an overhated DLC. Let me talk to you guys. Do you believe Lightfall was overhated? Can we get a poll on that? Looking back on it now, looking back on Edge of Fate, which we just recently experienced, do you think Lightfall was overhated? All right, there's a poll right now, guys. I love that poll question right there. Was Lightfall overhated? Great structuring of that poll question. Thank you so much for that. 55% right now is saying that Lightfall was overhated. 45% saying no. Wow. Okay. I would say this. Lightfall brought actually some pretty good changes throughout the year. Good sandbox changes. I think that the problem with it, one of the biggest problems right out the gate, was that the narrative seemed to be more focused on Osiris rather than what it should have been focused on, which was, you know, us taking on the Witness. But again, it was very obvious that this was like filler content. Like this is a filler expansion that if you were to cut everything out from the opening scene of the Witness interacting with the Traveler, you cut everything out and just add in the very end of the campaign where the veil and all that stuff happens and they open up the Traveler. Everything in that portion was filler. There was also some other things. Like I really did think that like Rohan, the Cloud Striders and their lore was really, really cool. You know what I mean? I felt like the focus was too much on Osiris. I didn't care about Osiris being, you know, like he was the whole time. It was like, oh, he doesn't have the light. Ooh, boo-hoo. You know what I mean? I actually wanted to know more about Neomuna and its people. It just happened to be so convenient that all of the citizens of Neomuna had remained hidden and then they just put themselves in the cloud. Okay. Neptune felt empty and Lightfall was not that Infinity War moment for us. Final Shape popped. Like, I'll tell you, Final Shape was fantastic on so many levels. I think the other thing that also made Lightfall terrible was that Root of Nightmares was just, I mean, man, it was dog walked. It was the difficulty of a non-contest mode dungeon. It was the easiest raid. I actually think doesn't Root of Nightmares have the highest completion of all in-game raids by like a large margin. Highest contest clears. High engagement is what we need as a community. Let me say this about engagement. You can have engagement. You just may not have success. You can have engagement and have success in the normal version of the raid. But if you're trying to have your pinnacle activity challenge the highest level of players, it needs to be hard. And if people are clearing it within 2 hours, it ain't worth a damn. So you're saying that we should go back to Root of Nightmares, that level of difficulty. That's healthy for the game. Let's get a poll on that. Do you think we should go back to Root of Nightmares difficulty? Let me just say, and people are saying this right now, 21,000 players versus 300,000 players. All right. So you're saying that 300,000 players that were playing in Lightfall was because of Root of Nightmares. First up, you're pulling a day one peak number versus our low for the Edge of Fate right now. You know that, right? So your data right now is disingenuous. Secondly, the drop off from Lightfall was the biggest drop off we've ever seen in Destiny history. Outside of Final Shape. Final Shape had a drop off, but that was because narrative was done. The drop off though from Lightfall after Root of Nightmares, after all that was concluded and all we had left was to listen to Kiyomi Essie talk about Mara into a microphone for months on end. It was terrible. Should we go back to Root of Nightmares difficulty? 18% say yes, 82% say no. Here's my thing, man. For my players in here that are saying that the content in Destiny should be easier, why can't you just go play normal versions of the raid right now? You could do a featless raid. It's normal. It's approachable. Why are you demanding that contests also be that easy and approachable. You have the entire year to play normal versions of these pieces of content. Contest is for 48 hours. If you don't, the game will die. Contest mode is not what's going to decide whether or not people play this game. Dude, there are so many other... Dude, I'm going to be honest. There are so many things outside of raids that is the deciding factor of whether or not people play this game, much less contest mode. You want to talk about peak viewership? That's all. Let's talk about peak viewership or peak attention. Outside of the day one launches of content, what do most people go watch? Whether it's YouTube, Twitch, or whatever. The highest peak concurrent viewership of the year inside of Destiny is raids, contest mode raids, at 48-hour time frame, where people like to watch other people die over and over again and lose their damn mind. That 48-hour time frame, it brings so much attention. People like watching the struggle, man. It's the same reason why you people showed up and watched folks play Elden Ring and stuff like that. Y'all like watching someone struggle. But the thing I'm just trying to understand is you have the entire year. I love how this is deviated from Lightfall and us talking about this trailer and all this other stuff. All I'm saying is that Root of Nightmares, after it came out, everybody, and I mean everybody, was just like, that's it. Gotta keep in mind, we just came off of Vow of the Disciple, which in my opinion was a fantastic day one raid experience, despite the error codes and all that other stuff, and they extended things. But Vow was great for lore reasons, its difficulty, its encounter design. Vow was great. And then Root came out and just missed all those marks. It was like Bungie saw what was accomplished with Vow of the Disciple, and then they said, let's do the opposite of this. Why are we talking about old raids in Lightfall? Because people were saying that part of the reasons why Edge of Fate is failing is because of the difficulty of the contest mode raid, which somehow is so outlandish, dude. So outlandish. When arguably, base version of the raid, the normal version of the raid, is one of the easiest raids in the game. It always blows my mind in these conversations where someone goes, look at Lightfall's numbers versus what we accomplished in Edge of Fate. Therefore, the difficulty of Root of Nightmares must be what Bungie does for future content. And that's not the case. Lightfall did well because Witch Queen set the stage. Most of the time, the expansion before is what sets the stage for the success of the next expansion. There are outliers, of course. But Lightfall would not have done well if Witch Queen had not banged. If anything, Lightfall started the downfall. Had Lightfall banged, I think we could have saw an even higher peak concurrent viewership in final shape.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.